Stephen King, Christine. Welcome back to another audiobook review. Today we'll be talking about Stephen King, Christine, and it's pretty creepy. I also watched the movie right after listening to the audiobook. I had seen the movie a long time ago, but I wanted to go back, and at the end of this video I'll do a quick which one was better, the movie or the book. But for right now, this is all about the audiobook. So for those less patient of you out there, I highly recommend this book. Old Stephen King, nostalgic Stephen King, classic Stephen King. They're all winners. I mean, and this one is no exception. So definitely go out there, listen to this book. I don't know if you'll thank me about it, and we'll talk about that right now. So let's start with the story. So the story revolves around this one boy named Dennis. I guess he's technically a young man. He's 17, on the cusp, turning 18. He's a popular guy, football player, dating a cheerleader, stereotypical awesome, happy high school guy. His best friend, however, is on the opposite end of that spectrum. So that guy, you put him back on this side. His name is Arnie. As the book describes him, he has a lot of acne issues, far worse than what's average for a normal teenager. Going back to my teenage years, I was lucky I didn't have that much acne. But they used to always come at the worst time. As soon as you got that one date or that one class picture, or basically any time that it was really important for your face to actually be clean, boom, big old pimple, just right there or right there. You know, my nose is big as it is already, so could you imagine a pimple extending that? Yeah, not fun. High school is hard. Kind of glad that part's over. He suffers from it very bad, and it's pretty much defined his life as what Dennis lovingly calls him. And this sounds like you can't say this lovingly, but I assure you, he says it in a very loving manner. As a loser, the type of person that just asks someone to beat him up and make his life hard. And unfortunately, that happens. You see that in high school. I saw that when I was in high school. I see that on TV today, and my children who have gone through high school or in high school talk about that as well. So for whatever reason, we just can't be nice to each other. You know, it's sad. And Stephen King exploits that. He's done this in several other books. Probably the main one you can relate Arnie to is Carrie, which I think was his second book, if I'm not mistaken. His first published second book. I might got that backwards. So you feel for Arnie right off the bat. He has parents that try to control his life. He is not popular. No one likes him except for his best friend Dennis. And Dennis is always saving him from someone trying to pick on him, someone trying to make his life just horrendous. Whether that be adults, there's some despicable adults in this book. Other teenagers, I mean, even his own parents, because I mean, poor Arnie, everyone just picks on him. But all that changes when Arnie meets Christine, and she is described just to be a bucket of junk, just a waste of parts. Dennis tries to talk him out of buying it, but Arnie is dead set in buying it. Short story long story short, he ends up buying the car from this older military veteran named LeBay that's just a hateful man with a back brace. Just every other word out of his mouth is a bad word, and not just like a bad word, not just like a gross bad word with very hateful intentions behind it. And you cannot help to hate this LeBay. So Stephen King does a good job in making a very bad person that we can all rally against and hate upon. Arnie buys this car. He starts fixing it up at this one garage called Darnell's. Darnell is basically kind of like a crime figure in this one town in Pennsylvania. and there's no rhyme or logic in how Arnie's fixing it up, and he ends up fixing it up, and Christine looks beautiful. And at first it's like a patchwork done, fixes it all up. In the process, Arnie's face clears up. In the process, Arnie gets a girlfriend. Her name is Lee. She's the most pretty girl in school. She was a new transfer, so she didn't know the acne version of Arnie. But she seemed like a good person, so she very well might have dated him, even with the acne problems. High school's rough. And everything's starting to look good, with the exception that Arnie's life is really falling apart around him. Everyone hates his car because his car gives bad vibes, and bullies that were picking on Arnie. There's I guess a critical point to the book is when they just totally trash his car after he fixes it. And he fixes it again, and then death ensues. People die, and we got ourselves a story. And the good guys, which is really Dennis and Lee. There's a lot of good guys in this. Arnie's parents start out as bad guys, but you really feel for them in the end. I mean, they're just trying to save their baby. That's all they're trying to do. They were way overprotective in the beginning, but no parent deserves to be treated the way Arnie treated them. And they're trying, they're reaching out for straws, for anything, and Arnie he basically transforms into LeBay. I mean, back brace, he hurts his back early on in the book, and you never really understanding why, but that becomes a very critical plot point tied to Christine on how he hurts his back. He starts wearing a back brace. He starts saying all the same bad words that LeBay says. The main word is the word shitters, which just describes anyone that LeBay or Arnie don't like, and pretty much anyone that does not like Christine. At the end of the day, they save the day, or do they? The book ends beautifully. Probably one of the best endings of a Stephen King book I can recount, next to Salem's Lot. This one just ends beautifully. Talking about rhythm. So story, hands down, 5 out of 5. This was great. Now let's talk about narration. Holter Graham, amazing. I think this is the first audiobook from Holter Graham I've listened to, but he depicts everyone so good. He's a little extreme on Arnie when he talks, when he does the persona of Arnie. He just talks like a stereotypical geek nerd, but times like 1,000. Squeaky voice, kind of like a little stuttery, very doubtful. But he does a hands down fantastic job. Even when he describes Christine, and Christine has her own voice, and when he's doing the voice of Christine, you really do feel it. It is good. So for narration, I give this a 5 out of 5. Again, just amazing. So let's talk about listenability. This is classic Stephen King. I will probably listen to this again. It don't hit that 5 mark because I wasn't dying to listen. On the opposite, I was dying to finish this because it's rough. It is rough, but I could see me definitely listen to this story again. It's very worth it. You know, it sounds absurd, a haunted car, but is it really more absurd than a haunted house? I think not. I think a haunted car is a lot more scary because it can move. A haunted house, you gotta go to it. A haunted car can come for you. So listenability, I would give this a 3 out of 5. So overall, I would give this a 4.3. Again, awesome, amazing, highly recommend. So I did say I'd listen to the audiobook, and right after that I watched the movie. Which one's better? That's actually very tough. I would say they're as good in different ways. So the book is it's a lot more detail, a lot slower pace, sometimes slower than I would have liked. But the book wasn't really scary. What the book was, this emotional roller coaster where you just felt the tension and like the air around you. I got kind of sad and depressed by listening to this book. It was very daunting, but I wouldn't call it scary. Movie, however, I watched that at night. That's a scary movie. That's probably one of the best adaptations of Stephen King I've seen. And it is scary. Christine in this movie she's the center point in the movie. Where in the book, Christine is a vehicle, no pun intended, to the hate of LeBay. Where in the movie it's Christine. It's evil. And there are some frightening scenes when she blows up that gas station and she's on fire and she's chasing you. Ugh, scary. So, have you seen the movie Christine? Have you listened to the audiobook? What did you think about it? Comment below. Let me know. This has been Dro Talks. Thank you for listening. Hit that like and subscribe. Hit that bell to get notified. And we'll see you next time.